symbolized a readiness now to allow private enterprise to thrive. And I underscored this by holding a major mining conference to ask big mining companies to come and to discuss what was their problem, and to instill in them faith that I really would not nationalize if they came to invest.
Okay, yeah. I suppose the nationalisation question is one question, and there are certainly two sides to that. The other question really is, as Tanzania moves towards finding its own place in the world, where do you see your natural bilateral or multilateral relations? Do you see the Commonwealth as being an important family? Do you see African neighbours or broader African Union countries? And how do you view the relationship with, let's say, China and Russia in particular?
With Russia, we don't have very much of an economic relationship.
With China, it's very
but
strong.
But with China, it is very strong.
Yeah.
I see that quite well, partly because they really have a minimal interest in internal affairs. All they want is security for their investments, that's all. And that is good. So with Russia, very little indeed. I find there is a role for the private sector, and to show you that I was serious, I would have an annual meeting with the Confederation of Trade and Industries in my country before we wrote the budget for the following year, where I would learn what the shortcomings of existing tax legislation. I would learn their sentiments about new areas of investment and so on. That's to encourage that one. But over and above that, what I did was to encourage the growth of small, medium enterprises, where the majority of which will be owned by our own people. So there is still hope. There is still hope.
One common experience that Ireland now shares with Tanzania is having engaged with the IMF and the World Bank as an aid partner to your country, and both our countries have faced that diminution of economic sovereignty. How did you deal with the IMF in your country, and how did you perceive that as maybe a rolling back on your economic sovereignty?
I negotiated with them very well, because I told them that I wanted to put the economy on an even keel. To start with, we were strict in government expenditure. 2, we were strict in revenue collection, and to that end I established the Revenue Authority for the first time. We did that, and then we were strict about government expenditure. We instructed the Controller and Auditor General to work effectively, upon which at that time the movement for debt relief had started. And I said, I'm going to qualify for this debt relief. The founding president, Mwalimu Julius Nyerere, was a bit skeptical whether I would be well received in my efforts to do that. But I did succeed, and I got debt relief. And I put the economy on such an even keel that we did not have to borrow from the IMF at all. Yes, we had reached that point.
And in Ireland's case...
And I was fortunate in having two heads of the two institutions, the World Bank and the IMF, who could sit and talk with
so
clients.
Dialogue was
that's right, that's right. This was the former president of Germany, who was head of the IMF.